So in front of me are 3 containers of engine oils. The first one is Glide 40 10W40 by MAG Lubricants. Okay, this is, I came to learn that this is a brand of the UAE origin. Okay, and this is just the same container. And the third one is Shell Advance SAE 40. This is SAE means Society of Automotive Engineers, something like that, 40. So I am just a few days after doing an oil service on my bike. You can check the previous video that I just posted. Okay, so I used this oil to do the service, and if you check on the video, I had commented that the oil that I drained was less than 1 liter. Okay, so I have this container that contains the oil that I drained, and I have this container that is sealed, and this one has the 1 liter quantity. You can see from that label. Okay, so I'm just going to use this weighing scale to try and see if this truly is less than 1 liter. So this is the oil that I drained from the bike. So just by weight, you can see that is 0.715 kilograms. So that is that. And from this one that is sealed, you can see this is 0.945 kilograms. Okay, so I had mentioned that I was realizing that I was not getting 1 liter out of the engine after the bike is due for service, and that just confirms it. So we are here to discuss about oils, and we are going to do 2 things. We are going to discuss about the grading of oil, this 10W40, what it means, and this SAE 40, what it means, plus the other grades. And number 2, we are also going to discuss about the types of oils, because as this is a fully synthetic engine oil, and as you can see from the label on this one has been written mineral motorcycle oil 4T. So this is for a 4-stroke motorcycle. So right off the bat, just by shaking the containers, these are much thicker oil, okay, compared to this that sounds a bit lighter. The consistency is a bit lighter. So let's discuss those 2 things. And number 1, we're going to discuss about types of oils. So here we are talking about engine oils. So basically we have 3 types. Number 1 is the synthetic oils. Most of them are usually known as fully synthetic. Then number 2, we have the mineral oils. And then number 3, we have semi-synthetic. So this third one is just a mixture or a combination of both mineral oil and synthetic oil. So it shares the same properties. It basically has half properties of synthetic oil and half properties of mineral oil. And the purpose of making a semi-synthetic oil is because synthetic oils are usually more expensive than mineral oils. So the purpose was just to achieve, but they are superior. Synthetic oils are superior in performance. So these ones have superior performance. Number 2, it's costly. Number 3, they last long between oil changes intervals. And for the mineral oils, they are cheaper. They don't last long between oil changes. For example, in motor vehicles, you'll find it lasting about 5k kilometers and this one 10 to 15k kilometers in the automotive world, in the automotive industry. And in the use for motorbikes, for the mineral oils, they do about 1k to 2k max. And for the fully synthetic, it's about 2k to 4k max kilometers. Okay, so that's one other the other difference. And the third property of mineral oil is that it has a laxer or less superior performance. And these ones are usually indicated or usually used mostly on old engines. And these ones are preferable for newer engines. Okay, so that is another difference. So for the semi-synthetic, now it will combine these properties so that you'll have an oil that is cheaper, almost in between in terms of costs, and it will last a bit longer than the mineral oil, and it will give an average, performance, and it won't actually hurt the pocket so much. And in terms of the duration for changing, it will almost be in between these two. Okay, so that's the difference. Now we'll come to grading of oils, because you need to understand what these figures mean. So here we are coming to grading of engine oils. So there are basically two ways in which engine oils can be graded. Okay, so here is grading. So the first system is to use the Society of Automotive Engineers, and the other one is to use now the other system. I think I will need to let me see if I can recall the name of that classification. And so for the Society of American Engineers, we usually have oils written as Psi 40 or Psi 30, and these ones, this number usually denotes the viscosity of the oil throughout the performance, and these ones are known as this type of oil. There is not a lot of change in terms of viscosity between when the engine is cold, when it is operating at cold temperatures during startup, and when it is hot when the engine is running at its optimum. So there is not the viscosity basically remains consistent, just remains the same, and you can realize that this I-40 is a much thicker oil, and it will remain thick during the cold and during the when starting up the engine and when the engine is hot and running. And the disadvantages of using a thicker oil, especially in a small engine, is that it becomes very hard to start because this is a wet sump. Like on my motorcycle, what I'm using is a wet sump, and this is the scenario in most of the machines. And with the wet sump, you find that the crankshaft and most of the components of the engine that are sitting lower are usually soaked or are usually submerged in oil. That's the right word. Are usually submerged in oil. And because this oil is much thicker, it takes a lot of engine effort to try to run those components inside the thick oil, and therefore you end up getting hard start, especially in the morning. And even the engine will strain to try to run the components through this submerged thick oil. And even things like the oil pump will need to work harder because it is working to pump thicker oil. But now for the other classification, we normally have these figures, figures such as 0W20, 10W30. So the commonest I'm seeing around is 0W20. This one is used in modern vehicles. And then we have 5W30. This one is also very common for automotive use, especially in our country. Then there is 10W40. This one is used by most of the motorcycles and even some automotives. Okay, so these three these are the three most common engine oil grading that I see in our Kenyan roads. 0W20, this one is for very modern vehicles, and the purpose of, and this is a much thinner oil. it's actually increasing in thickness as we are going down. So this one is increasing thickness, because 5W30 is a much thinner oil than 10W40, and 0W20 is the thinnest of them all. Okay, so the purpose as to why we are seeing modern vehicles using thinner oils is because the engine oil is continues to play, more and more roles in the vehicle. Initially in the olden engines, we basically had two functions of engine oil, and that was cooling and lubrication. And cooling, this one is also being aided by the cooling system, including the coolant, the water pipe, the water pump, the piping, and the radiator. So we had these two major functions, with the lubrication being the topmost function, followed by cooling in those older engines. But now we are seeing more and more functions of engine oil being implemented in the engines, and among the areas that are coming out as being important for or coming out as major functions for oil in the automotive world or in the modern engine is they are also responsible for running the VVT, running the variable valve timing system, and we also have engine oils giving the necessary tension for the timing chain. Okay, so timing chain tension. Engine oils nowadays are also being used to maintain maintain the necessary slack, or the necessary what do we call this, slack. This is in the valve system, that is the clearance. Okay, because we have systems that use the engine oil pressure to make sure that there is no slack in the valve system, such that the valves are able to go down, and come up at the appropriate time, and you do not have to adjust the clearance manually like it used to be done before, or shimming the caps, or having to adjust using that adjuster and the filler gauge. Okay, so there are also other functions like running the turbo, and this one is both for cooling and also for lubrication. So in the midst of all these functions now being implemented in the modern engine, you need an engine oil that is advanced, that has properties that will both be favorable for the engine when it is cold and also favorable for the engine when it is hot. So these synthetic oils, yes, they are made from a mineral. Yes, they are made from a mineral base. So we have the base, and then we have added additives, or we have additives that have been added to the base oil so that we get the desired properties. Okay, so that's the reason why, because this oil has to run through all these systems and through very thin channels, very narrow channels, then we have a much thinner oil being used in the modern vehicles. Okay, so this is in terms of decreasing, increasing thickness, increasing viscosity. Now this first number represents the viscosity when the engine is cold, when the oil is cold, or during the winter season. But because we do not experience winter in the part of the planet, in Kenya, this one will say that it safely represents the thickness of the oil when cold, or during the winter season, because this W stands for winter. Okay, and this other number represents the thickness of oil when it is hot. So the manufacturer will determine what thickness of oil is needed for that engine when it is cold and when it is running. And therefore, it is important to always check the manufacturer's recommendation in order to be safe in terms of running your engine, so that you are able to get the optimum running condition. So I think that is that is all about oils, the grading, the types, and what we really needed to know concerning engine oil. So I have been using this oil in my motorbike for the last about 1 week or so, and I can say that this is a very good type of oil. The motorcycle actually feels happy. It starts right away, running very smooth. What I am yet to see is whether I am going to have oil consumption when it is due for service, and that will be at the 2000 kilometers mark. Okay, otherwise the performance of this oil is very good. The engine does not heat up as it used to. Changing gears is very smooth. The clutch feels very nimble, running smooth. I basically have no issues with this oil, and it is one oil that I can recommend easily for use in your 4-stroke motorcycle. I am going to get a similar oil of 5W30 for use in a vehicle. Okay, and I will give my reviews right here in the video during that oil change, during the usage, and after draining the oil. Because of the things that I'm looking for, I am looking for oil that is going to give me optimum fuel consumption, smooth engine running, give me that cooling property that is desired, and no oil consumption after doing the service. One of the things that usually leads to oil consumption is something called the flash point of the oil. There are some oils that when they reach the operating temperatures of the engine, they tend to evaporate. So you're not losing oil through the exhaust system. So you're just losing oil through evaporation when they reach the operating temperatures. But I was made to understand that this oil has a very high flash point, so you're not likely to lose oil through evaporation. So that is one of the things that I will need to check when doing the service. So please subscribe so that you do not miss that content, and please like the videos so that I can get the motivation to make more of these videos. Cheers.